watching Newsmakers Who Influence the World. So, Ronald Weakley Jr., it's a name that we really haven't heard of yet. Now, this 20-year-old African-American kid who lives in LA was skateboarding on the wrong side of the road and was attacked by 4 officers after being questioned for skateboarding on the wrong side of the road. 4 officers smothering a 20-year-old kid.
Attacked, that's the word for this.
Attacked.
He was attacked. He wasn't restrained, he wasn't arrested, he wasn't interviewed, he wasn't questioned. He was attacked.
Listen to this. Broken nose, a concussion, and a fractured cheekbone.
Let's take a quick look at the video.
The 4 of them pulled him down, and they were handcuffing him, and then they were like beating on him. And I was like screaming because I thought they were going to kill him.
And then we were telling him, hey, you don't have to do that. He's already down on the ground. Leave him alone, you know. And they were just, and the poor kid was just like knocked out with blood coming out of his mouth, and he looked like he was out.
There were about 3 or 4 officers on top of my son, and then an officer comes into view, gets down on the ground, and hits him in his face, and it's something that you can hear on the tape. The results is that he has a broken nose, he has a broken cheekbone.
Alright, so obviously the officers have this under control. This kid, you don't see him squirming around, you don't see him trying to get away, although I'm sure he probably was trying to get away, with 4 officers on top of him.
Yeah.
Now have the officers overstepped their bounds?
There's no question about it.
Right.
There's no question about it. This is simply a case of 4 police officers who've overstepped their authority in subduing a African-American young man.
Is it about race?
It's definitely about race. You cannot tell me that this would have happened to a white kid or a white woman or something like that. This would not have happened. This is purely about race, because that guy doesn't have any power whatsoever. I mean, when it comes to the social structure in the United States, he's at the bottom of the ladder.
Right.
He's an African-American male. He's at the bottom of the ladder. He's got no power whatsoever. So the cops think they can get away with this kind of behavior.
This is ridiculous.
And think that if they do it, nothing's going to happen to them.
Right, to subdue somebody who's 20 years old.
Subduing.
So whatever it is. The police are trained. They're trained to bring people down without hurting them. And you take a 20-year-old kid who's completely tackled to the ground, they give him what? I said a concussion, a broken nose, and a fractured cheekbone? Unacceptable.
Yeah, as
absolutely
you can see in the video, there's a cop punching him in the face.
Right.
Now, what I want to know is, what did he do to deserve this kind of action? Did he have a gun? Was he threatening to kill somebody?
We don't know.
I mean, this kind of action is only precedent if that was the case. If he had a
scares
gun and was threatening to kill someone, then I'm saying, right, go at it, take him down.
Leave
he
the
was
force.
Skateboarding on the wrong side of the road. You know how many times I've done that? Not that I skateboard, but I've been riding my bike on the wrong side of the road. Now, if a cop did that to me, 4 cops, you know how furious I mean, I'll get the absolute bejeebers beaten out of me, but I would be absolutely furious. And I mean, to be honest, I don't even think it would happen to me, simply because I'm a white male. And that's what's really disturbing about this story, is that it happened to him, and the cops will come out and say, oh no, he was using his skateboard as a deadly weapon.
Film.
You know, his skateboard can be, yeah, that's what they're going to say.
That's what scares the cops, is that it's on film.
Yeah.
And when I first saw this, I was trying to think of the bigger picture and what's happened over the past couple of years. And that's the cops overstepping their bounds.
This has not happened before, particularly with the skateboard.
Listen, the Occupy protests, alright, was a great example of police overstepping their bounds and infringing on the liberties of protesters.
Yeah.
You had cops, peaceful protesters, for those of you who know what these protests were about, peaceful protesters, and they were using lethal force. They're using pepper spray on these people. They were throwing pepper bombs into crowds to control them. You know,
they do not have power behind them.
It disturbs me greatly, because you're talking about civil liberties and civil rights, and the United States is slowly but surely entering an era where they're being taken away from us to keep us safer. I'm telling you, this all started post 9/11.
Yeah.
This is what's happened.
I mean, you cannot tell me that that would happen to a bunch of rich white people in their, you know, Beverly Hills or whatever. For what? I mean, if they were protesting, not that they would protest.
It wouldn't happen.
For whatever reason. But it wouldn't happen to them because they have money, they have strings, they have connections, they have political powerful pull. Those people at Wall Street do not have any of this. This guy does not have any of this. And what is it about picking on skateboarders? This is not the first time it's happened to a skateboarder. There was another YouTube video a few years back where another cop was beating up, this time it was a white young boy.
Okay.
He was about 14 or something like that, but also in LA. And he was laying into him, man. He was beating him up.
It's a problem.
Because he was like skateboarding in like a public area or something like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I think these cops are bored or something.
You know what? The taxpayers pay for the police to do their jobs.
Yeah, they have to answer.
And where they're actually beating the taxpayers for no apparent reason, you gotta keep them in check. It's a reality check, alright? Alright, we'll keep this story updated. We'll let you guys know what's going on. You're watching Newsmakers who influence the world.